Are you currently waiting for a guy to come around and waiting for him to choose you? Because if you're in this position, you are in big trouble. If you are a woman and you are anxious and obsessed over a guy, it puts you in a huge disadvantage because you are embodying your masculine. You are rarely attracting and instead you are chasing. Hi, my name is Jasmine, and on this channel, we talk all about becoming the woman of your dreams and building a life that you absolutely love. And in this video, we're going to be sharing how to get anyone obsessed with you. Here are all the video chapters, and you can find the video chapters in the description below. And if you are someone who is ready to do the real work, I'm not just talking about watching these videos, but actually transforming. I provide worksheets for every single one of my videos. In these worksheets, you'll find in-depth journaling prompts as well as practical exercises to help you start removing your limiting beliefs and to write out an action plan so you can start living out as your highest self today. You can access these worksheets down in the description below. Now let's dive right into the video. The very first tip is to stop being a hunter and start being a creator. The secret to getting anyone and everyone obsessed with you is to have exceptionally high standards. Because if you were to think about a school like Harvard, everyone's trying to get into Harvard, right? They receive millions of applications every single year and the acceptance rate is very, very low. The reason why everyone wants to go to Harvard is because it is a difficult school to get into. And everyone's obsessed with Harvard. Everyone wants to get into Harvard. And for those that actually get selected to be at Harvard, they're gonna feel prideful and proud and they're gonna feel special. But if you were to look at your local community college, anyone and everyone who applies to this community college gets to go to the school, gets to enroll in these courses. So in the end, when these students actually get in, they start enrolling their courses and they're telling people what school they go to. Oh, I go to this college. Are they going to feel particularly special, unique, different, prideful of their school? No, they're not going to feel particularly special compared to someone who actually got into Harvard. Why? It's because when you are being chosen by someone who is selective with their space, with their energy, who they spend time with, who they date, who they flirt with, then it makes the other person, the receiving end, feel special. The more that you try to make yourself attractive, accessible to every single person, you will be special to no one. And the main reason why you clicked into this video is because you want to be seen, you want to be chosen for your uniqueness. And that's what you ultimately think you want to be seen as special. So there are two different types of people when they're pursuing someone to date. The first person is called the hunter. That hunter is primed to chase this feeling of being wanted. Problem with being a hunter is that even if you did manage to catch someone, so say that you're a skilled hunter and you managed to get someone who was really hard to get, but you only chose this person because you wanted a deep challenge. And after dating this person for a year or two, you start to get bored because the feeling of the chase wears off. Now you want to chase another prey because that feeling of, I already got this person, I'm done, I'm through, you're gonna go chase someone else. And on the other hand, if you're a not so skilled hunter and you had rock bottom standards and you manage to find someone who wants to date you, then over a couple of years, that person is gonna find someone who's hotter, who's wearing a leather jacket, who owns a motorcycle. If you have rock bottom standards, and if the foundation of how you seek out relationships is through seeking out validation that you are worthy, then that relationship is bound to fail. And it has nothing to do with whether you're a skilled hunter or a not so skilled hunter. If that is the basis in how you seek out relationships, then unfortunately, they're all gonna end the same. And after a while, after going through relationship to relationship, you start to ask yourself this question of, I don't want someone for just a year or 2 years or 3 years. I want someone that I could spend a lifetime with. I want someone who will be with me through thick and thin. The second approach is the creator role, where instead of waiting to be chosen, you are the chooser. And you're thinking to yourself, what do I want? I know you clicked into this video because you want someone obsessed with you, and this creator mentality will actually get you there. So being the type of woman who gets chosen means that you need to put yourself in the mentality of someone who is a chooser, right? You don't need permission to do this. You already have that permission. Everyone already has that permission. You get to choose and you get to be selective of what kind of man gets to be in your space. Instead of approaching the dating scene waiting for someone to choose you, you get to approach dates thinking about who is actually worthy of my time. So this is where I want you to grab a notebook, grab a pen, go to your local coffee shop, sit in a quiet area, and write down an exhaustive list of every single thing that you desire in your next partner. And this can be as granular as how spiritual you want this person to be, how they are emotionally, physically, mentally, how they are like as human beings, what they're like with their family, what kind of vacations you guys are gonna go to, what your communication styles look like, what your dynamics gonna look like, what your humor is gonna look like. And I would even go as far as recommending that you spend a couple pages, like even 6 pages worth of all of the different aspects that you want in a partner. This gives you permission to actually flow out all the ideas and being honest with yourself about what you actually want. And then when you're done, you want to go through that list and circle all the things that are non-negotiables for you. The way that your mind works is that you need to give your brain a specific target. You know, if you're attracting these very low quality men, it's because you are giving your brain an unconscious target to seek out more of these people. But if you were to write down that list and read that list every single day of all the non-negotiables that you circled, you are feeding that information to your brain, so your reticular activating system, which helps you filter out what's actually important in your life. The more that you focus on the traits that you want, the more the subconscious mind is going to lead you to more men that have those traits. The crazy part is, once you approach dating from a creator mentality, you no longer care if you are a fit to every single man, because you are only solely focused on finding that person that has all of the non-negotiable traits that you have written on your list. This has nothing to do with playing hard to get, and I really do not recommend playing hard to get because it is such a dishonest way to approach relationships. Someone who is truly secure, someone who is truly in it with you for the long term, you do not need to play games with them. Now, as you are bringing that energy back to yourself and focusing on what you want and being the chooser, then suddenly all of these men are gonna come to you because they feel attracted to you, because you're bringing that energy back to yourself. And they wanna be around you, they wanna date you because they wanna feel special around you. Now, as you look at your non-negotiable list, and if this man at this caliber walked into your life, imagine what kind of things would this person, would this man be looking for in their partner? Which brings me to my next tip, which is work on becoming a woman of a high caliber. So take this list, take all the traits, all your non-negotiables, humanize this person, make it into an imaginary male being. Who do you need to be to attract a partner of that caliber? And all the traits that you've written down are probably traits and aspects of a top 10% man. And did you know that 90% of women all seek out the same 10% of men? And that is no accident, because as women, we're always seeking someone of quality. We're seeking someone who has a high standard for life. If we are seeking out a top 10% man, we ourselves need to work on becoming a top 10% woman. Don't immediately disqualify yourself just because of who you were in the past, who you were in the 5th grade, who you were in high school, if you were bullied, if you were judged. Don't immediately disqualify yourself even from the decisions that you made yesterday. The first thing you need to do is to stop identifying yourself as who you were in the past. You need to let the old version of you to die. And I'm literally telling you, putting her in a casket, floating her away, because that version of you no longer exists anymore. If you want to become a top 10% woman, you can no longer judge yourself based on the past decisions that you've made. Every decision that we make in life is just us doing the best that we can. And if we have been fed continuous thoughts of unworthiness, of shame, of guilt, then it's no accident that we make those decisions from a place of scarcity or lack, or feeling like this is the best that we can do in life. But to be a top 10% woman is, number one, not identifying with who you were. But number two is setting a high standard for yourself. And setting a high standard comes with doing the hard work. That means that going to the gym, even if you don't feel like it, that means doing the inner work, even though it brings you to a very painful past memory, continuously showing up in meditation and visualization, visualizing yourself as the woman that you want to be. And that being at a woman of a high caliber is about crafting yourself and building yourself. I like to call this process the Michelangelo process, because every sculpture starts with a piece of rock. There's no definition, there's literally nothing, but it's up to the sculptor to choose how they want this statue or this sculpture to look like. Every single decision that you make, whether these are the small decisions or the big decisions, they all contribute to that little chip that goes through the sculpture, through the rock, and it's like chipping away every little curve. Just because you chipped away one piece of that rock doesn't mean that you're done with the sculpture, but it takes continuous practice, continuous effort, showing up every single day, making the same decisions that actually contribute to the evolution, the end point that you want to be at. It's really unfortunate, but I feel like people are very afraid of working hard because they're thinking that this is wasted energy. I don't want to try something and fail at it. I don't want to waste my time and energy on something that isn't a guarantee. But there is no such thing. Anything that is worthwhile, anything that is really good and here to stay for the long term, it's gonna take hard work. There is no running away from that. There will come a moment in your life where you need to look in the mirror and confront yourself whether the decisions that you're making now are actually contributing to the future that you want. You need to work hard in order to be a woman of a high caliber. Every brand new day is an opportunity to make different decisions. If on your list you are looking for a man who works out, who is fit, who is healthy, then you best believe that he's gonna be looking for someone who has the same lifestyle as him, who also works out, who also eats healthy. If you want a man who dresses really well and grooms himself really well, then you best believe that he's gonna have that same expectation and desire for his future partner. If you want a man who has strong willpower, who has emotional mastery and resilience, then you best believe that you need to be on that same wavelength too. If you are looking for a man who respects himself, who is secure, you best believe that the last thing you should be doing is going back to your ex. Because someone who respects herself would never do that. There is nothing more gratifying than working diligently on yourself, where when you get to the other side of that, you look at your past types, you look at your past boyfriends, and all you feel is empathy and sadness for them because you no longer relate to them on an emotional level because you've grown so much from within. You get to a point where you stop chasing boys and you start magnetizing men. Don't do this work because you want to be in a relationship, but do it because you genuinely deserve it. That every decision, every piece of work that you do throughout the process is going to add up and it's going to expand your life in so many incredible ways. Tip number 3 is to have an obsession greater than your desire for a relationship. When a man feels like he is not in the center of your universe, he is going to desire you more. But on the other hand, if you are the type of person where every time you talk to a guy, you become immediately obsessed, it's like he is all you can think about, you need to stop that because you need to have greater goals and greater passions outside of just wanting to be in a relationship or outside of just wanting that guy. You need to find other goals that you're absolutely obsessed with. If you know that you are someone who is naturally intense, who is naturally obsessive, use that to your advantage. Because just imagine if you were obsessed about a dream or a goal and you went all in on that dream or goal, how far your life would take you through that obsession. If you do not find other things to be obsessed with, your main obsession is going to be a relationship. A woman being obsessed with a man, it will always put the woman in a huge disadvantage. Because as women, our nature is to be taken care of. Our nature is to be able to be provided for. It's in our feminine nature to be bowed down to by the masculine energy. And I know it sounds very egocentric of me to say this, but that is what the feminine essence is all about. It's about being served. It's about love. If you have no idea what your goals and dreams are, be obsessed with finding out what you are meant to do. Be obsessed with finding your life mission and purpose. What drives you? What gets you up every single morning? You need to find that and be obsessed with that mission before you find your next relationship. Because I bet you, if you operate from a place of scarcity, if you are just excited and very lit up by that anxiety feeling chasing a guy, you are a hunter. You are not a creator. That if you do not have goals outside of a relationship, you will never be able to be in a place of a creator. Because as a hunter, all you care about is being able to land a guy. So this is your opportunity to find your inner childlike joy. Find things that excite you. Life is so freaking exciting. There are limitless opportunities. There are limitless men and women, friendships, and people that you get to meet. There's so much going on out there. And if you think that this guy is it, you are so wrong, honey, because there will always be another guy. There are 8 billion people on this planet. And don't even worry about the lack of it, because there will never be a lack of it. There's so much abundance waiting for you to be found. There is absolutely nothing less attractive than someone who has no excitement for life, no purpose in life. Focus on building a full life on your own rather than waiting for someone to fill your other half, to fill your cup. The next tip is to master the art of leaning back by creating polarity in the relationship. If you are calling a masculine man, you best believe that you need to take a step back and start being in your feminine. There is nothing weak about being in your feminine, because being in your feminine is actually incredibly powerful. Things are being taken care of without your intervention. Things are moving without your intervention. There are masculine forces being at your service because you are in your feminine. Imagine how powerful you are when you have your needs met without needing to lift a finger. Masculine forces are doing the most to serve you, my goddess. I know that you are used to being the strong, independent, capable woman. You want to come off as strong. You don't want to be seen as weak. But now is not the time to be that way, honey, because you want to sit your butt down and start trusting his judgment. Now, this is also where you want to do your vetting process, because you don't want to be with a dumbass. Like, you don't want to be someone who isn't capable. But this is your time to also vet. Is he able to handle the small and big details without you needing to intervene? Let him pick the restaurant. Let him make the reservations. Let him order for you. Let him organize transportation. Let him do all the things that he needs to do to step up. And someone, a man in his masculine, will not need to be told what to do. Let him do what he needs to do to make your life easier. And if he is truly a man in his masculine, he would be more than happy to be of service to you. Even if you are already very knowledgeable, allow him to teach you something new. And this is also his way of providing value to you. If you have issues at work and you need advice, ask him for that advice. Ask him what he thinks. And after he says all of that, don't be afraid to go in and say, I really appreciate that you said that, or wow, you are so wise. And just saying that is going to make him feel really secure. It's going to make him sufficient, and it's going to feed more into his masculine energy to want to serve you more. Which brings me to my next tip, which is to drop the as he should mentality. We all want to feel acknowledged and validated for our hard work. So think about work. If your boss shows you appreciation every single day for a job well done, even though they pay you a decent salary and you have to show up basically, how likely are you going to want to work harder for this company? Very likely, because you feel good being in this role. You feel of service. Say on the other hand, you have a boss who takes your efforts and your skills for granted. You are a salesperson and you closed a $1 million deal. Imagine if your boss just said, as you should, it's your job. How are you going to feel? That $1 million sale that you made makes a huge impact on the company, and all your boss has to say is, as you should. Because technically, yes, it is your job, but you deserve way more than just that, right? If you don't feel acknowledged for your value, so what are you gonna do? You're either gonna put in less effort every single day and not really care about your job because it's not being acknowledged anyways, or you are going to go somewhere else and go to a place where they actually recognize your worth and value. The same thing goes with relationships. No man owes you anything. If a man goes out of his way to pick you up from your place, pay for an expensive meal at a fancy restaurant, he is not doing that because he owes you anything. He is doing that because he genuinely wants to. He is using his hard-earned money, and he is using his very precious time to spend on you. You also need to show your appreciation for the other person, because that appreciation is going to add to more of the good things he's going to want to do, right? Because if you appreciate more of the good things that he does, the more he's going to want to do more things to make you happy, to make you feel more grateful, to want you. Like, that level of obsession starts there. And it starts with appreciation. It starts with gratitude, right? If you are in a relationship with someone who seems to never be satiated, a high quality man wouldn't seek out a relationship like that because he knows where his value is at. He knows what he deserves. Your entitlement is not making you attractive, but it's only pushing away real men. Anytime he does something for you, just show your gratitude, joy, and appreciation because that makes him feel more seen. And every man, behind every single man, is just a little boy, just a little inner child that wants to be seen for his efforts and to be seen for who he is. Tip number 6 is don't be afraid to initiate flirting. I think a lot of women get intimidated about flirting because they feel like that's them making the first move and it makes them desperate and no longer makes them a high value woman. No. That's not what it is. Flirting is something that is very beautiful and that's very feminine, and it just shows your natural playfulness and charisma. I had a conversation with my aunt and I asked her what her top relationship advice was, and she said that she wished that she flirted with more men when she was younger, and she was a very beautiful woman. But she said one of the biggest mistakes that she made was she waited around because she felt like she couldn't initiate flirting, that she couldn't seek out the men that she wanted, but instead that she had to wait to be chosen. But as we've talked about this hunter versus creator mentality, if you are a creator and you find someone that you want, it's totally okay to go up to them, approach them, and talk to them. Flirt a little bit. Like, be playful, be cute. Every time I feel shy around going out in public or going to a big group event, I always hype myself up by saying, I am a gift to this world. People would be so happy to meet me. So you need to bring in that same mentality. By initiating flirting, we finally, as women, have the power to choose what kind of men that we want to be with, because every time, this whole time, you had this power. We are not just waiting for who comes around, but we are making the choice, the conscious choice to choose who we want to be with. And if you do make that bold move and you get rejected, you should feel bad for them because they don't get to experience you. So some small examples could be if they're making a joke, you just want to laugh and just lightly touch their arm, or if they are talking about something really intimate with you or they're sharing something quite vulnerable, just look at them deep in the eye and just really acknowledge and just be vulnerable too. Or if you're about to leave and part ways, you can share how much you appreciate sharing their energy. Or if he's talking about a restaurant that he really likes, you could say like, oh, we should go sometime. Like, be creative. But I think as women, it's pretty easy to flirt. You just have to laugh a lot, kind of make a little bit of physical contact, make sure you make eye contact, even though it's really scary, even though he's really cute, but you just gotta do the damn thing. The next tip is to stop oversharing your vulnerabilities, past relationships, and sexual history right from the get-go. Undersharing creates mystery. Men love to work for your layers. So don't give him every single fact, every single detail, every single life story right from the get-go, because he's gonna think, well, I know everything there is to know about this woman, I'm done, right? Like, she's kind of boring from here. But you want to give this man an opportunity to earn the right to get to know the deepest core of you. Even if part of those deeper layers are your insecurities, if he has worked and put in effort to get to know your insecurities, he's actually going to appreciate those insecurities way more and want to protect you at all costs. Like, there's a level of like, I need to protect you. So that is one thing. Do not share your vulnerabilities too quickly and just slowly share parts of you. Another thing is that if you really like a guy and you want something serious with this guy, don't talk about your sexual past and history with them. And if they share about their sexual past and history, just respectfully decline them from ever talking about it again, because it does disrupt the nature of your relationship today. If a guy does openly ask you about your sexual past, I would take this as a caution, because if he's asking these questions, it makes me wonder whether he wants something casual with you or if he actually wants something serious with you. If a man wants something serious with you, he is not interested in what kind of sexual things you've done with other men in the past. That's just not in his realm of focus, because his realm of focus is on you. So you don't need to impress this guy by sharing about how much sexual experience you have. In fact, just don't share any of that at all. unless you are having a very safe discussion about it. The next thing is past relationships. I would be very cautious of how much I share about my past relationships, because if a man is obsessed with you, they want all of you and they want all of your heart. But if you were to bring up your past partnerships or past relationships way too soon, talking like first, second date, then they're going to think, she's still thinking about them, so I don't have all of her heart, and he might actually detach. So please be very mindful of when you share about exes and how much you share about exes. And when you do share, make sure it sounds very neutral, that you're not hating them completely, but you're not like in love with them still. But when you're speaking about this topic, just keep it as neutral as possible. If you are on a date with this guy and you are obviously really obsessed with him, you really like him, but if he is talking about his ex, I actually recommend that you put your foot down and say, I totally understand how you feel about this, but I don't appreciate talking about this subject. Or stand your ground, and he's gonna shut up, and he's actually gonna respect you for that because you stood up for yourself. Just FYI, if you're on a date with someone who is clearly still hung up over their ex and they're basically crying about it during your date, feel free to just step away, walk out of that date and go home. You are not a therapist. You are not supposed to be hearing this stuff. Out of respect for yourself, you are not meant to hear this information because it's just outright disrespectful. The next tip is to withhold sex for as long as possible. If you are serious about a guy and you want to have something long-term with them, you do not want to make sex easy for him. And in fact, you want to make it as hard as possible. You want to make it way harder than it needs to be. Why? If a man is pursuing a woman, to a man, their primal instincts is that sex is going to be that end goalpost. And men want to be able to have sex with their partner, and that's how it shows his ability to dominate that woman. If a woman gives a man what he wants way too early on, he's gonna think, wow, that was a little too easy. I mean, it feels like she does that to every guy. And in his head, he is not gonna feel special. So therefore, he doesn't want to pursue you because he does not feel special. But if you withhold sex, if he is expected to put in effort, time, hard work to please you, and if he is not okay with it, like he's doing this for a couple of dates and he's like leaving, he was never in it for the long term, honey. Like, so glad that he left, goodbye. But if he continues to put in the work, to put in the effort, just to shower you with love, he wants to treat you right, and in the end, he gets that reward, he is going to feel very proud of himself. He's gonna feel that you are the reward, you are the prize, and that he's gonna feel really honored because in the process, he got to know you before he had sex with you. Do not wear very revealing clothing. Like, be very aware of what you wear because what you wear sends an exact message or signal of what your intention is. If your clothes barely cover your boobs or they're barely covering your bottom privates, then what that is signaling is that you are signaling that you want to sleep with that person. Especially if you're going into a date, this is where you want to dress to impress. You want to dress for the intention that you want. Before you hate me on this, I want to say that you would never wear revealing clothing to a job interview because you wear appropriate clothing. You want the interviewer to see your value based on what you bring to the table, not what your body offers. So you should go into dates with the same mentality. Dress for what kind of relationship you want, which means that I recommend trading for something that's a bit more modest, that covers all the right places, that makes you feel comfortable. And you want to give him the opportunity to get to know who you are outside of lust, outside of sexual chemistry. You want him to get to know you, who you are fully. If you wear clothes that reveal a little too much, that's all the guy's gonna notice. Whether he's a high caliber man or not, it is only going to divert their attention to something else other than your personality. It does not matter how incredible you are. You could be someone who graduated from Harvard. You can be someone with an incredible job. You could be someone with an amazing body, amazing face card. Like, you could be perfect. You could be an amazing chef. You're wife material 100%, but But if you show up wearing very revealing clothing, that is sending a signal to the guy that you are only looking for something casual. And that is going to repel high quality men. So some tips to withhold sex for as long as possible is number 1, wear your granny panties. And I'm talking about the ugliest pair that you own. Even one that says High School Musical, like one that you have probably owned for 10 years and never wear, but you still keep it in your drawer because why the heck not? This is your opportunity to wear them because you know that you won't be dropping your pants. Number 2 is to avoid late night isolation. If the guy invites you over just to cuddle a little bit at 11 p.m., that's a booty call. If you are being walked home by this guy and he's like, just let me come up for a little bit, I just want to see what your apartment looks like, but he's really trying to initiate, that's a booty call. That anytime it is happening at night and he's around and there's no one around you, that is an initiation for something quite dangerous. So you do not want to slide into that slippery slope. So what you should do is whenever you have a date to choose locations in a controlled environment, meaning that there are people around you so that there's no funny business going on. The very last tip is to leave places where you are not valued. I refuse to be a placeholder in anyone's life, and that should be the same expectation that you are holding for yourself. And you know, everyone is smart enough to know whether they are a placeholder in someone's life or not. And if you are in that position, you need to leave right away, because it does not matter how much more you do, because that person is never going to see your value. And that is simply a limitation that they are dealing with. It has nothing to do with you. People cannot see beyond how they see themselves. I say it all the time in my videos because it is not your fault if someone doesn't see your value. No matter how much you want them to like you, no matter how much you've invested in that relationship, if there is no reciprocation and if there's no appreciation for your presence, then it's not worth it. There is an abundance of people who are dying to get to know you, dying to get into a relationship with you. And you're hung up over this loser? Like, come on. You need to start waking up and believing that there is more out there for you than what you are dealing with right now. This has personally been a lesson that God has shown me time and time again, because I've been through situations in my career, in relationships, where I did not feel appreciated and valued no matter how much I did. But the most loving thing that you can do is leave. This isn't giving up. You're not giving up just because you're leaving a situation, but it's simply because you know you deserve better. Life will always meet you at the level of what you believe you deserve. And we accept the love that we think we deserve. The reality is, not everyone is going to see your value. That is simply the harsh truth, but it is your job to have discernment whether someone appreciates your value or not. And if you are not being appreciated for your value, your job is to walk away and to find a better opportunity, to find a better person, to find those people that are going to appreciate you for you. Now, we've reached the end of this video. If you want to implement everything that I've taught in this video, then check out my worksheets down below. And if you are on the journey of becoming the woman of your dreams and building a life that you love, check out my channel, because I make a ton of videos about self-worth, relationships, love, money, career, literally all things high value women energy. If you love this video, I highly recommend that you check out this video over here. This video contains 10 micro habits to increase your feminine energy, and it's gonna help you become way more attractive and to tap into your feminine essence. I love and appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!